You are now listening to N21FM, a Pokemon TCG podcast. Before we begin today, I want to go ahead and go over some housekeeping. Just wanted to remind everybody, if you are new here, if you haven't watched before, if this is your first time, or if you're returning and maybe haven't thought to do this in a while, be sure to like the video, leave a comment about what you'd like to see in the future from these podcasts. Subscribe if you're new around here and haven't already. And we also very recently finally got episodes uploaded to Spotify. So the podcast is now located there as well. You can just look up N21FM. It is by Barry Seaman. That is my government name. So that'll be the author you see, and it is the same logo that we have for the first 8 episodes. So much appreciated in advance. Thanks for all the love you've been showing me here on YouTube, and I appreciate the stuff in the future. But tonight I've got something very special for you. I am here today with my good friend James Turner, who recently probably experienced a lot of euphoria, a good bit of fulfillment when Dialga VSTAR won the regionals in Indianapolis here recently. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But first, James, I'll have you introduce yourself to the folks at home watching.
So, James Turner, been playing card games for 15, 16 years now.
Wow.
Started with Yu-Gi-Oh! In 2008. I think it was my sophomore year of high school. Found some kids playing at a lunch table, and sure enough, started playing, having fun. Took me a couple years to get kind of good at that. Had a couple top 32s at regionals back then. I mean, it was only 300 or 400 players, so top 32s were, they were still good, but
that's still pretty cool. Yeah.
Kind of my breakout year was 2010 though. I actually got a couple of top 16s, and then the last regional in the season managed to get a top 8 to get my national invite.
Oh, wow.
So, playing the most expensive deck at the time, for the people that actually know, Infernities, $100 cards a pop. Very Ooh. Fun time. Yeah. I went to Nats that year. I just was outside of making day 2. I think it was 10 or 11 rounds, and I went 6-4, 6-5.
Very
I think
nice.
I was 150, and it was top 128 to go to day 2. So, it was an adventure.
Still a pretty cool deep run, I'd say.
Yeah. Especially since that was the first year where it was I took it seriously and started playing meta. All my buddies knew me for playing either rogue or I would take a meta deck and make it my own. Stopped playing that in 2012 and didn't play many card games for a while. Did some Pokemon collecting here and there. And then COVID hit. And
yes.
I was like, man, I want to do something. I've got too much free time. So I started opening packs. Getting
the gateway drug for all Pokemon players.
Yes. Because of the whole, oh god, what was that Charizard? It was with the Chonkachu that everybody was chasing. I think it was Burning Darkness or whatever it was.
Was that Darkness Ablaze?
Yeah, Darkness Ablaze and Champion's Path.
Gotcha.
So
wow, so you started before I did by a substantial margin.
Did a little bit of collecting there. Didn't play or anything like that. It was just collecting. And then recently in November, a couple of buddies of mine were like, let's play Pokemon. And we were going to play online, do whatever. And I'm like, I'm going to be serious about this. So I started playing, and I think it was the second week in November, and played TCG online. And then decided I was going to finally go to a local card shop.
Nice.
Had to figure out which one, called around. Fortunately, Dead Elf
R.I.P. Dead Elf. What a great store.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I didn't get to go there at all, so I didn't get to know anything about it. But I ended up settling, get some. And first tournament there, went 3-0. Granted, there was only 4 people, so
3-0 still good. 3-0 still good. 4 people all the way up to I think like 16 is still 3-0 is like the best record you can have. That's pretty good.
Yeah. So played Miraidon because I had fun with that online.
It's a good deck.
And then second week going there, I ended up having a car accident. Car got totaled. So didn't get to go back to get some until after that.
Mm-hmm.
But during that time is when I found my new love for Pokemon.
Yes.
I was playing online and I just got smoked by this Dialga deck. And I was like, what is going on?
Right.
And I built it. I loved it. And I have been trying to make it work.
And this was back when it was still Magnezone Dialga, right?
Correct.
Ooh.
I tried everything I could do. I actually put Pidgeot EX in there. Hey, it worked.
I'm sure, yeah.
Until it dropped one Magnemite and said, here's 6 energy. Call it good.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's not as cool.
So now we're live and cooking. I've tried Shen Pao, I've tried a couple of different decks, but
yeah,
the one deck I will never do is Zard.
That's okay.
I can't do it.
I think that's for the best, honestly. I think, well, and especially, and as we'll talk about in a little bit, I think Zard might be not on its way all the way out the door, but certainly about to take a major knockdown a peg. So, I mean, you're probably doing fine to not even build it. Yeah. But you said you started on Yu-Gi-Oh. Was it just like having friends that played Pokemon that kind of got you to move into this game, or?
So I forget how it happened, but it was basically Discord, where we've played Destiny for the last 5 years almost.
Yeah. Shout out Destiny players, go touch some grass.
Yeah. So they were just like, yeah, we want to play some Pokemon and whatnot, and they're like, we'll play online, and they went ham on buying stuff. Like,
oh no.
My one buddy, I think, dropped $1,500 in the first like 2 weeks. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I was like, okay. So I slowly started buying stuff and realized how the TCG Live worked for getting resources. So I started that, and that's kind of how it was. And I'm like, I'm one of those people, I can do online, but I prefer the physical shuffling of the cards, just having it there.
It just feels better.
Yeah.
No, I'm right there with you. I think in-person cards are the way to go, man. Like, it's so nice to have the option for online, especially for testing purposes and things like that. But there's nothing like sitting down at a table and just having a good game of whatever card game with your pals.
Yeah, the other thing that I've also kind of learned is, like, especially when you're in person, you can like lay out your hand and be like, during testing, and be like, what's your opinion? Not like it's
what's like the
not like
play here.
And it's not a like, oh hey, we have 40 seconds because of the timer in the game. It's, oh hey, let's talk it through, let's see what the optimal line is.
That's true. That's why a lot of people were using like the limitless TCG sim, or like whenever it comes out, Twin Leaf, when that comes out. You've heard about that, right?
I actually haven't.
So Dan TDM, famous Minecraft YouTuber of all people, is also an avid Pokemon TCG fan, and it was a while ago, a couple months, I want to say, he decided he was going to either fund or learn how to code, or some mix of the two, in order to get a new open source client for players that would have matchmaking and like a replay system and things like that, and even ways to do like alternate formats. It's really good. Azul and Chip did an interview with Dan on Uncommon Energy. Highly recommend to anyone watching, and to you, James, go like watch that one, because they talk about it very in depth. And it's clearly a passion project of his. Like, you can tell just from listening that he loves this game, and it's cool to see that kind of passion. And it seems like it's gonna be a really cool sim to have as an alternate for TCG Live, just because TCG Live is, well, a buggy mess.
Yeah. And it's like one of those things where when you said the other formats, it's like, I've been interested in kind of like GLC. Like, that's one of those things but it's like, I either have to spend the money or hope someone has a deck that I'm kind of interested in.
Yeah.
There's no real way to like try it out.
Yeah, which is another thing that you can do, because there's no way to play GLC online right now. Twin Leaf was meant to be kind of like a way you can do that. And he even mentions in there like toying with other like rules options. Like he mentioned, I think specifically something that I now like if I am playing Magic Commander with friends, like really casually, I'll suggest this rule because like I tried it and I was like, this is really fun. I like this. Instead of drawing 7 for your initial hand, draw 12 and select 7. Like, and I thought, but like mulliganing a little differently. And like, he's like he mentioned, he's like, that would be a really cool thing to experiment with just to see how things work. He mentioned like ways of playing that use prize tokens instead of prize cards. So your deck can have more baked in consistency. It's really interesting. Again, super good episode of the podcast. You should definitely check that out.
Yeah.
But that's really cool though. So how long have you been interested in Pokemon as like an IP though? Because I know you played some VGC for a little while. I know the TCG is definitely not your first rodeo with Pokemon as an IP. When did it all start with you?
So, funny story on that. Well,
Yeah.
it's funny but painful story.
Oh no.
Fun fact: my birthday is Pokemon Day. It's February 27th.
Let's go.
Yeah,
I love that.
So, but the way I started in Pokemon was due to breaking my leg.
No way.
So my dad told one story, I told another. Long story short, he was the one who legitimately accidentally broke my leg. He stepped on it. The story is that he was grilling in the driveway, and we had a basketball hoop. So it was me and 3 others playing.
Okay.
My side of the story is that I shot the ball, fell because I landed wrong.
Right.
And it hit the rim and went towards him. And he heard the ball coming towards him, turned around and stepped on it.
Just a cartoonish coincidence.
Correct.
Wild.
His version of the story, however, is that I tried to guard him. 7-year-old kid trying to guard him. And then he did what he had to do.
He had to break your legs, man. It's just mandatory.
So
teach you a lesson.
He felt so bad that he actually went to I want to say it was Sam's Club, but way back in the day. So this was 2000s. Like 2000.
Gotcha. I was recently born.
And the combo for the N64 that he bought me, because this was like 1 week into summer break, was Pokemon Snap.
Oh, nice.
I played that, absolutely loved it, and fell in love. And then the next year on my birthday, my mom and my stepdad got me a Game Boy Color and Pokemon Fire Red.
So sick.
And it was a full love relationship after that.
Yeah.
Played all the way to Diamond. I played Diamond and Pearl. And then, unfortunately, my DS broke, so I didn't get to play Black and White or XY.
So sad.
I made up for it, though. Because I got a 3DS with Sun and Moon. And
goated titles.
The Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon were goated. Sun and Moon were
fine. Sun and Moon were fine.
I took the time and learned how to mod my 3DS.
Nice.
And did make it through Black and White, Black and White 2, X and Y, and all those amazing titles.
Wow. So you've got a long and varied history with the game then.
Yeah. I have played almost every game up until GameCube. And so I played all like Gale of Darkness, Pokemon Stadium 2, all those games.
Wow.
I loved them. I wish I still had an N64.
Yeah. Dude, that'd be crazy. Because those games, I didn't have a ton of experience with them, but like the experience I did have was so fun. Because like my experience with Pokemon before when I first got into the game was like when my mother used to nanny some like a family. And I wasn't allowed to have Pokemon when I was a kid. We were one of those families. But they were. So what I would do is when the kids were at work, or not work, at school, I would like sneak their Game Boy Advance behind like a couch in the upstairs game room while my mom was like prepping whatever for like the youngest kids. And I would play their copy of Leaf Green and just not save, and I'd put it back where I found it, and and that would be that. But yeah,
So,
that's my earliest experience with the game.
yeah.
But
No.
you've played. Did you ever dabble in like competing in the VGC as well?
So I did. Not that I did a little. I tried to do Diamond and Pearl back in the day.
Okay.
Didn't go well. I did go for online tournaments for BDSP, Scarlet Violet, and Sword and Shield. Never did amazing just because, unfortunately, I have the worst luck when it comes to crits and misses.
Oh no.
90% rock slide on 2 targets. Yeah, it's like a 3%. Good luck.
Ooh. Yikes.
So,
that's super unfortunate. Well, and also you kind of played during like, hey, Zacian is in the game. So I can't be mad about that. That's interesting.
Why I did like BDSP a little more because of that.
So that's one of my favorite gens too, if not my favorite.
The other thing I will say with VGC that I have done, and not a lot of people know, Kaizo Ironmon.
Wait, what?
Kaizo Ironmon.
What is that?
So it is essentially, most people know what a Nuzlocke is. So if your stuff dies, good luck.
Yeah, it's gone. It's gone for sure.
So Kaizo Ironmon is played on Fire Red, Leaf Green.
Yeah.
Randomized starters.
Right.
And the rule is you get one the entire game.
One Pokemon?
One Pokemon. You can pivot 1 time per route.
Oh, one Pokemon in addition to your starter.
No.
Huh? Wait, what do you mean you can pivot 1 time per route?
So the starters are randomized.
Yeah.
You cannot take any Pokemon with 600 base stat total or higher, so no legendaries.
Got it.
And then basically, like, you go into the first route in Fire Red, Leaf Green.
Yeah.
If you don't like your Pokemon, you can catch one to replace it. And that one that in your starter goes into your PC, never to be touched again.
Oh, wow.
Here's the killer.
Yeah.
Every trainer battle has a 50% level bump.
Oh my gosh.
Misty is like level 30 for both Pokemon. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, that sounds a little ridiculous.
The Elite Four is like 80s and 90s.
Oh my goodness.
You can't heal outside of battle other than the Poke Centers.
Okay.
It's a laundry list of rules, and it is ridiculously hard. I managed to beat it 3 times.
Wow.
It took me 1,500 attempts to beat it the first time.
That's crazy.
So if anybody ever wants a challenge, go look up the rules. They even have a new version, which is called Super Kaizo. And I said, I'm not that crazy.
That sounds evil, in fact. Villainous, even.
Yes.
Wow. That is astounding. So you've got a ton of experience with the game. And like between different games, different versions of the game, different ways of playing and stuff like that. I've been trying to ask this to folks, do you have a favorite Pokemon or like a Pokemon that you took a particular liking to because of an experience with a game or a deck or like a team?
What?
Oh, you're pulling it out right now? What is that? Oh, Decidueye GX.
I absolutely love Rowlet and that line. It is pure perfection to me.
They're pretty sweet.
That is the one Pokemon I've been shiny hunting in Scarlet Violet through eggs, and I'm like, mind you, I have the shiny charm, done the eggs, done the like powers and all that stuff for it.
Right.
So it's like a 1/5/12 with Masuda. Like I know all that good stuff. It's I want to say 950 eggs so far.
Oh my goodness.
It doesn't beat my shiny Feebas though.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
14,000 eggs in BDSP.
That's
doing this. doing Masuda with shiny charm.
14,000? Oh my god. Wow. So you have way more patience than me, and probably most
Yes.
people.
Yes.
That is astounding.
I would say in BDSP, I think I've got 6,000 hours.
Wow.
I am, when I dedicate to a game, it's unfortunately little too much dedication.
Yeah, that's okay. Sometimes that's a great thing. I find myself doing the same, but probably not to quite the same extent. But I do love the all-in way of appreciating games, man. It's why, and we've talked about before, like we both played Destiny. Lately, of course, Pokemon's been my biggest like love as far as games go. It's cool to be able to just really sink your teeth into everything that a game has for you. It's a lot of fun, and I can definitely see why you'd like that. But you said Decidueye. What's the story with Decidueye? How did that become your favorite?
It's very silly kind of thing, because like I said, Sun and Moon was the first one I got back into,
Right.
and I just saw Rowlet and I was like, this is the best little Borb. He's got his little bow tie. He's
I
just
love his
the
bow
happiest
tie.
little guy.
Yeah.
So I mean, and I just love the whole like Robin Hood owl design. Owls are one of my favorite animals.
Owls
So
are sick, dude. They're a cool bird.
yeah. So
That's awesome.
now I have a question for you.
Yeah.
It might be
Okay.
simple. Do you know what my favorite animal is? And the hint is it is part of my gamer tag.
Well, if I had to guess, probably a giraffe.
That would be correct. People don't get that for some reason.
How? For the context, folks at home, his gamer tag is Giraffizard. That's Charizard and giraffe. For those who are uninitiated and aren't familiar with etymology at all.
Yep. So Charizard was my favorite Pokemon until favorite overall until Gen 4.
Classic Gen 1 mindset.
Yep. And then it became Piplup to Empoleon.
Goated.
Yep. And then it became Rowlet through Decidueye. So, I mean, in reality, I have my favorite fire water.
Yeah, you got a whole set of starters, man. That's awesome. That's crazy. Super, super cool. So, are you also a fan of Girafarig? And to a further extent, Farigiraf?
I love it. I want a deck to do well with it, but for now, Dialga is my love. Dialga's
yeah, absolutely. And Dialga's a great deck. I'm super excited to talk about it here in a second. Is there anything else or what do you do like outside of Pokemon right now? Do you have hobbies? We've kind of talked briefly about Destiny. Is there other stuff that you do?
Mostly just been gaming. For work stuff, I do IT, and one of the big things is that they've agreed upon so that they can we get reimbursed for any certs we get. So I'm working towards oh god, what is it? For the IT people, they'll know Azure network engineer. So basically, maintaining databases and things like that.
Very cool.
So
nice. That's super cool, though. I like that. IT also explains a lot. The modding the DS and things like that.
Yeah.
Super, super cool. Well, we kind of talked about it a little bit. Do you want to start talking about the famous Dialga W that just took place on May 4th?
Yeah.
Is now the time for that? First of all, let me get what are your thoughts?
It was one of those things where it's like I saw it played in round 4, and I was like, okay, it seems like a every round 4 to start the tournament live stream for the last 3 tournaments that they've done, it was always Dialga, and I'm like, man,
don't tease
just another name to just keep track of. So like I kept track of it through the entire day. Like, okay, he's still undefeated. I'm surprised. And then round 7, there was another person that had Dialga, and I was like, oh, This is
They're still
looking
going.
good. This is looking good.
Yeah.
And then round 9 completed. I'm like, there's no way. Dialga's 9-0.
Yeah. I think that was when really like the writing started to be kind of on the walls for this deck to really start to do well in this tournament.
And the other thing that I will say with it that I was like, okay, the writing on the wall is there, is that oh god, I forget his last name.
I'm looking at the names right now. Give me the first name.
Andrew Hedrick, yes.
Yeah.
The previous 2 times he ever went 9-0, he had won the entire tournament.
Really? Interesting.
So I was like, can he three-peat it?
Those are also his only 3 regional wins.
Yes.
That's pretty cool. What are the other ones he's gotten first with? I'm trying to see.
I think it was Guardy, and I looked it up.
I see Lugia. I see Lugia last year. I see Dialga. I see Lost Box. I see 2 Lugia decks.
I could be wrong, but it was one of those things where it's just like, it was just watching it was so happy.
He's a great player. He's an incredible player.
Okay, so it was actually Lugia. Lugia both times in Knoxville and Orlando in the 2022-2023 season.
Wild. That was Silver Tempest, I think, right?
I think so.
Oh yeah, so the great incident, the great disaster, if you will.
I will say I didn't get to play that disaster, so
I wouldn't use the phrase "get to play." That was a nightmare of a format.
Yeah, so it's kind of one of those things where it's like I'm one of those people, I do like to go back and watch older formats just to see.
They are so cool.
So definitely should probably go watch that, because
dude,
yeah.
If you think Lugia right now with the rats is good, you should absolutely take a look at old school like release Lugia, because they just, bro, I forget who was the first person to like pioneer the deck being the way it was with the amazing rares, but they absolutely just cooked. And then it became the standardized 60 for Lugia. And on the one hand, like, it was the most broken deck the Pokemon trading card game has ever seen, and it's not even close. But it was also just like, and for that reason, I really disliked it. But I also kind of like, looking back, I look back on it a little bit fondly, because it's like, that was really pushing the boundaries of deck building. It was so cool, and not in like the ridiculous ways that we have now, where we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah. but yeah, so when I saw the 9-0, I was like, all right, we're cooking.
Right.
I decided to actually go back and look through his on stream and slow it down and see his play thing, because I was like, I didn't see any Jacks, I didn't see any TM Evos.
Right.
How is he playing it? 4 Nest, 4 Ultra, 4 Iona, 4 Research.
It's just such a straightforward list.
It really was, and I was like, how is he cooking like this? And
it is kind of crazy to look at. Go ahead.
Because like everybody in Japan was like, oh, double TM Evo, double Jack. Yeah. We've seen the other ones where they got 20. The 21st at Orlando was same thing. Research, Iona, no TM Evo, no nothing. I was like, maybe this is the way.
I mean, clearly they're onto something. And yeah. It's funny because I just talked about, like, back then it was the height of like as complex as you can really make decks be. And looking at this reminds me of World Championship 2023 or 2022 decks. The Arceus Flying Pikachu deck with Decidueye, Hisuian Decidueye, is like the most straightforward deck. And even the Mew VMAX deck from that year, they're all very straightforward. It's like 4 copies of Boss, 4 copies of Research, 4 copies of Marnie. And like that's like your supporters pretty much. And it's cool seeing that kind of stuff can still work, because obviously during the 2022 WCS there wasn't really as much of a strong, like, Limitless wasn't as potent of a tool in the community. There wasn't as much accessibility to information as quickly as there currently is. So it's really interesting to see that, like, even now when you've got crazy Lost Zone boxes and like Torrid piles where you've got 30 something odd one-ofs in your deck, you can still do really well with just like 4 research, 4 Iono, 3 boss, we're good. just
Yeah,
play it like that.
I mean, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4 one-ofs in the entire deck. Greninja, Mew EX, Zamazenta, Prime Catcher. That's it. Everything else is
And 2 of those are mandatory that they're only one-ofs.
Yeah.
So I mean, consistency works, man. Consistency does work, as it turns out.
So I took that list. I made a little tweak to it. That'll be for our. I'm not sure if you're going to play in it the Saturday GCP tournament.
On live?
Yeah.
When is it? Is that this Saturday?
This Saturday, I think it's 8.
I should be there.
Yeah.
I'm hosting the pre-release at Buzz City Games, so I will try to. I think we should be good because it starts at 4.
Okay.
Which, by the way, plug, if anybody's listening right now and you are, whether you're doing that tournament or not, come to Buzz City Games in Concord. We are doing a full Twilight Masquerade pre-release, and I'm judging, and it'd be cool to have you there.
Maybe I go to that one instead of GSG. Maybe we'll see what time the girlfriend gets off on Saturday.
Yeah,
because still only have 1 car at the moment.
Oof.
But going back to the hype up, when I was paying close attention to the rounds, and I was like, is 36 points gonna make it in?
Yeah.
And there were a couple people that got 36 that didn't make it in. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And then I saw top 8, and I'm like, I'm happy enough.
Yeah, top 8 was cool. And it was cool. There was a lot of Chen Pao in top 8 as well, like a surprising amount of Chen Pao.
Yeah, like the fact that there was 12% of the day 1 field was Chen Pao.
Yeah,
and 24% was Charizard, and only 1 Zard made it in. I see
26% on Limitless.
Oh, for day 1 Zard?
I think it's for day 1 Zard. It might be day 1. It might be day 2. But I see 26% Zard meta share.
I mean,
either way, that's still a lot. Around a quarter of the room is Charizard. And I think that's probably why Chen Pao was such a good choice. And as a result, why Dialga was such a good choice for the tournament. Because Chen Pao doesn't have a lot of bad matchups. And the matchups that it does have don't really do a lot. Honestly, when I think back to this tournament, it reminds me of Charlotte Regionals, not this past year, but the year before, when Eternatus VMAX won. Because it was during the height of a Tier 0 format, and out of seemingly nowhere, this other just titan of a deck comes out of nowhere and takes the whole thing by storm. It was an incredible meta call. And I think that's a lot of what made Dialga so good.
Yeah, so, but yeah, it was one of those things. Chen Pao, like the fact that you only need 3 energy on Dialga to KO Chen Pao just because of weaknesses. So, I mean, Zamazenta just eats it alive.
It's so good. I love Baby Zam.
So, I mean, it was just like, and then I got to see the top 8, where we got to see Mahone versus Hedrick for the 3rd time that tournament.
Incredible game, too.
Oh, yeah.
And hadn't Hedrick won both of the other games?
No. So he won the first one, and they tied the second one.
Oh, dude. So this was a grudge match, too.
Yes.
Holy
even
smokes.
It all up.
Wow.
And then, it was just one of those things where I was just like, I was hoping Dialga was going to have to run the Chen Pao gauntlet, but no, had to run Pidgeot against Pidgeot control. And I was like, that's a rough matchup.
It seems like it, yeah.
So I was just like, wait, and that was the match that didn't get streamed. So I was like, oh. And then I saw it, and I'm like, finals.
But then again, like looking at this control list, I feel like your matchup isn't all that bad. Because if you get because their biggest win con is like being able to just continuously like use Charon's Care on Wigglytuff EX a lot of time. Sometimes it's like for Cloth. But a lot of the times the win con is that Wigglytuff EX with what 450 HP. That's way less daunting when you can just be like, oh, that's crazy. I'm gonna take an extra turn.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like it's not a horrible matchup, but it's also at the same time not a great matchup.
It's definitely scary for sure.
Yeah,
especially when Grant Manley is piloting it. Like when you've got one of the best players in the league right now playing a control deck into what they know is a very specific meta game, like that's terrifying.
And like, well, what round was that? Where the Pidgeot control player did you like 3 turns in a row and hit 6 energy.
Oh, I don't remember, but that's gruesome.
Yeah, I forget what round it was. So I'm like, that's the fate of Dialga is like if you mill a super rod or 2, it hurts.
Yeah,
because,
definitely.
I mean, even if you're super rodding 1 energy back, that a lot of the times I find 1 energy is a make or break difference.
Yeah. Well, when you're running 15, like that's a quarter of your deck. Having one more closer to that is important.
Yeah. So I mean, I remember thinking like for Super Rod when at what was it? EUIC.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
No, it's
like kind of fine.
So I mean, and then I was watching the finals and I was just like, this is perfection.
Yeah. Incredible match too. Like being able to watch Dialga just pop off because it's such a sick flex to be able to like when you do get that like turn 2 Star Chronos off. It's so sick. It's like when back when the Rapid Strike box deck was playing really well. I forget what tournament it was, but I saw like the turn 2 Yoga Loop against a Guardy deck, and I was like, that's gas. Being able to take extra turns in general is so sick, but especially when you have just this big ass Dialga in the active spot to deal with whatever else you need to deal with. Like having that extra breathing room to just be like, okay, I can set up some more stuff. I can set up another Dialga. I can boss something, or I can use something for like consistency's sake. I can get everything I need and then have a little baby Zam to swing the prize race. Like, it's so cool getting to watch Dialga fire on all cylinders at the highest level against Grant Shen, one of the best players, like another incredible player in the league, piloting Chen Pao, like, which is doing better and better. Because I think people have finally started to catch on that, like, we're tired of Charizard. And yes. Chen Pao has to get the best matchup against it other than, like, Arctina.
Yeah, and it's like one of those things where it's just like, over the time of playing Dialga, it's just like, there's been so many things I've seen online, different things like that, and it's just, there are bad matchups, but, like, I find that its worst matchup is itself, basically breaking. But, like, as Hedrick said, it doesn't have a bad Zard matchup other than Radzard.
Right, Radzard hurts.
It doesn't have a problem against Guardy whatsoever because, you load up your damage on your Drifloon, I can just send out a Matang or even a Beldum.
Yeah.
Or Zam.
Right. And with so many guys in the Guardy deck being weak to metal types, it's also a huge point in your favor.
Miraidon's 220, free Star Chronos.
Free Star Chronos.
So I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, it's kind of that it needed the right moment to shine for people to see how good it can be.
Yeah.
And I know the 60 from Hedrick is going to be built up on, but I mean, the price of Dialga stuff is skyrocketing, and it's
yeah.
I mean, the alt art for the fact is like the near mint one on TCG Player now is $53, $54. It's just insane.
Yeah, and even like looking at Hedrick's list right now, like the deck is $100. It's 111, which is not to be like weird about the money like on the show, but like you don't see Pokemon decks getting that expensive usually. Like hitting over $100, and part of that is inflated by Prime Catcher being just so expensive for now. But like, it's crazy to even see Dialgas get up that high.
Yeah, the standard Dialga is like $7-8 a pop. Like, it's crazy.
It's
like, I remember
so wild.
When I was looking at building my first deck, I was like, man, these decks are cheap. Because
yeah,
coming from Yu-Gi-Oh, my Infinity deck was a $700-800 deck.
Brutal.
Yeah. So I mean, like, I was like, man, this is gonna be great. Pokemon's gonna be cheaper to get into.
Yeah.
Cough, cough. No, it ain't.
It can be. It can be if you play your cards right.
If you buy singles and don't buy cases of things, then yeah.
Yeah, if you don't buy cases, that is a pretty important one for sure. But yeah. Overall, Indianapolis, incredible tournament. We also got to see what I believe is Andrew Mahone's last big tournament. Don't quote me on that, but Andrew Mahone, Tricky Jim. If somehow you're watching this podcast and don't know who he is, wow. But incredible content creator in the YouTube space. Played it out with Chen Pao, Bax Caliber, and actually made it to top 8, which is, I believe, his best performance since the Mew fiasco that he did with oh no, he even when he was like rocking with Mew really heavy, he still like didn't get this high. This is his best placement in a long time since since 2019-2020 season with Blacephalon. Absolutely incredible showing. And he totally earned it, man. Like, it's a little corny to just like give these creators mad props because they're good creators, but like Mahone's also like an excellent player. He's passionate about what he does, and he mentioned on the Tag Team podcast like that he wanted to focus on work and family. And
didn't they say, I thought I had heard he has a kid on the way or something like that.
I think so. I can't confirm nor deny. So, but like, that's a great reason to be like, hey, I'm gonna step back from the traveling and stuff. Definitely admirable. I'm pumped for him. Between having a kid, that's incredible, and then also like getting the opportunity to have such a high finish, with like his last big hurrah, dude. That's it warms my heart, it's just super cool to see.
Yeah, it's one of those things when you see those players who have been around for a while and making the content finally kind of hang up the ropes potentially. Like, it's a sad day because like you're used to seeing their name in the list somewhere in a big tournament, and then like it's not there, and it's like, who's the next person that's going to take the place?
Right. Well, and it's like, it also is kind of, it's a little sad from the point of view of like, some of my favorite content from him is the tournament vlogs. Like, his Worlds vlog is a masterpiece. Just like from a cinematography perspective and like storyboarding and this, that, and the other. It's a really cool video. And like, his passion really shows through his work, and it'll kind of hurt my heart not seeing that kind of content from him quite as much. I hope that at some point he does, like, he brings the gloves and the robe back out, puts it back on. It's like, all right, sometimes I'm just gonna have to show him, but I assume it'll probably be a little while before we get something like that. I'm excited for that day, though. It's gonna be a good day.
Definitely see it if it's like a tournament, like a regional or NAIC or something that's close to where he is.
Oh yeah, certainly. If there's a tourney in his backyard and he can make it, it would also be cool if he like got more involved in like not expanded the format, but like a more expansion of the GLC format. It'd be cool to see him do like stuff with that format, either whether it's like a collaboration with TPCI or like just doing more stuff at the regional level with GLC. But again, probably unlikely, but it is cool to see happen. Yeah. super exciting. A bittersweet note for sure, but I think it's ultimately going to be a really cool one in the long story. Great player, mastermind. In his year of Mew, he did the. So did you play during the Sword and Shield format at all?
No.
Okay,
So I joined in Paradox Rift.
got you.
Right after Paradox Rift dropped.
So back when Mew was like the best deck in format, it had this group of mad scientists cooking it up with all kinds of different techs in there. One of those techs was Flying Pikachu VMAX. Yeah, it was against Lost Box. It was when Lost Box and Mew were very, very prominent. It was Mew VMAX, and then a 1/1 Flying Pikachu VMAX, and a single. I forget what the name of the actual card is, but it's the Special Lightning Energy. That lets you draw 2 cards. I'm trying to find it on PokemonCards.com. I'm not entirely sure what it's called, but it was just those 3 cards. And if nothing else, you still had a perfectly functional Mew VMAX deck. But you had those 3 cards.
Speed Lightning?
Yeah, Speed Lightning. You had a perfectly functional Mew VMAX deck, and then if you needed it for the matchup, you just pulled it out, and it was great. And if you didn't need it, you don't need it. It was super interesting. I remember being like, yeah, this guy's kind of onto something. This guy might be really smart.
But must be nice to play a deck that isn't hard stuck on that 60.
I love it. It makes me miss Mew so much, but I'll get over it. I think actually I've found my new love in the form of Dragapult EX, baby. I'm so hyped for this. We talked about it. I think I talked about it briefly with oh my god, who was on the last episode? It was Randy again. I think Randy and I talked about Dragapult briefly, but Dragapult EX looks to be so good. I'm really hyped for it.
It's
Go for it.
It makes me sad because I just got off of the 70 HP Beldums, and I'm gonna have to put them back in.
Put them back in. Put in. Get the Rabskas out. Get the everything you need, man. Because this deck is gonna go crazy. For those of you who are unfamiliar with what Dragapult does, it is a 320 Dragon type Stage 2 EX Pokemon. It's a Terra type too. Holy smoke! So it can't even be damaged on the bench. That's messed up. Oh yeah. Man, it's so good. It has an attack that just does 70 for 1 colorless, or it has an attack that does 200 damage for a Psychic and a Fire, where the effect is you can put 6 damage counters on your opponent's bench any way you want. People are using all kinds of ways to power that up. Some people are using the Xatu engine. Some people are just using the regular. Some people are using like Pidgeot Rotom. But it's so potent because the Dracloak that it evolves from has a reprint of Airmail, where you scry 2 and just look at the top 2, put 1 on the bottom, 1 in your hand. It's such a good effect, and I'm really glad we're getting such a cool reprint.
Yeah, it's I've tested it a bit. I personally prefer the Xatu, because I mean, draw engines are always nice.
Yeah,
and that's the thing.
Believe it or not, accelerating energy and drawing cards is a good effect.
Yeah,
it's
just a little
good.
bit,
just a little bit cool. And people are using all kinds of new A specs with it. People are using Unfair Stamp. People are using Prime Catcher. People are using. I'm sure there's some goober out there using the cast that lets you like survive an Oka with 10 HP. I think my favorite way might be with the Neo Upper Energy, which I'm glad somebody's finally finding a use for that card.
So the one I kind of like, and it also goes into Dialga, which is going to be my hunt for a spec, is actually Hyper Aroma.
Oh yeah, the 3 stage 1s, right?
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
I mean, if you can,
I don't know if you'll need it for this deck if you run Lance, but if you don't run Lance, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like the whole idea is like Buddy Poffin and then Hyper Aroma, and then next turn
just have the whole squad. Yeah, you're chilling.
I mean, because the way I kind of see it going is you Buddy Puff in turn 1, and then turn 2 you can Arvin into this and say 4 Sealstone, and you're cooking.
Yeah. And 2 Rotom V in there is really cool as well. Like, first of all, no one has ever known this about me. I'm a huge fan of Rotom V. I have loved that card since it came out. I thought it was super sick. There was an old deck list that used what is it? Tower of Darkness, the single strike stadium. You discard a single strike card and draw 2 cards, and like a million of the scrolls. So that you'd be discarding a bunch of tools and then building up your damage with Scrap Short, man. It was so sick. It never saw any success, but it was so cool, and I'm so glad that like now it's seeing play.
So I've actually seen a couple of Rotom decks actually do pretty well in Japan.
Really?
With the VSTAR, yeah. It's literally like, I think I saw one had like 21 tool cards in it. I was like, that's insane.
It's a lot of tool cards.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you're able to hit that big, it's kind of worth it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm so pumped for Dragapult EX. It just did very well in, forgive me if I butcher the name of this place, but it is the Champions League Sapporo in Japan. It didn't win, but it did have a bunch of different variants of the deck played, including one goober playing Lost Zone. Which we don't even have time to unpack all that. That's ridiculous. IMO.
Yeah.
But like a lot of variants of the deck, a lot of other decks. I see 0 Charizard in this top 16, and that is so reassuring to me.
Yeah, it definitely is going to be a nice refresher, because I mean, Zard is like the bane of like nearly every deck's existence.
It is arguably a tier 0 deck.
I think the only deck that wishes something else would disappear faster is Lugia with Future Hands.
Dude, yeah, absolutely. Poor Lugia. Lugia is getting like, hey, we're going to give you this really cool energy card in Legacy Energy. We're also going to print Iron Hands EX. Do you accept the terms and conditions of this trade? And it's like, well, I guess. And I mean, Lugia is also running its own hands. It's actually kind of cool that you see the next set in Twilight Masquerade. We're gonna get Lugia's honestly gonna get to a similar point to where it was before it rotated back, similar to where its inception is, because the Ogerpon that we're getting, the water form Ogerpon that we're getting, is going to slot really well into Lugia, and it will take the place of what was Amazing Rare Raikou. You could load that up and just snipe 2 guys for 120. It's going to be able to attack with Luminion again. It's going to be able to have the Oko potential with, like, I think some people are probably going to play Roaring Moon, maybe. And then, like, it's got the multi-prize potential of Iron Hands EX, and which is taking the place of that Stoutland V from back in the day, that they would load it up with powerful colorless energy and take like a 20 or 40 damage attack that would take an extra prize, and get it like 4 damage mods, so that you're smoking Lost Zone decks and getting extra prizes. It was really cool back then, and it was oppressive back then, but it's cool that it's finding its place spiritually similar to when it first dropped, but not as brutally overpowered. And I'm pretty hype about that. It gives me like a weird nostalgia for back in those days.
Yeah. So funny thing you mentioned about that Ogerpon water.
Yeah.
I came across this deck in Japan, and I died of laughter.
What is the deck?
Dialga.
With Ogerpon?
With 1 water Ogerpon, 1 water energy, 2 Irida, Basculin, Basculegion. Because think about it. You just need the 1 water energy to search.
Yeah.
And then you can just Metang cycle the extra energy on it.
That's kind of hype, actually. I like that.
I saw it.
I would have never thought about that, but that's hype.
I'm like, and they play, and it's weird because the one thing that they play in it, which I'm like, maybe probably swap out, is they play 1 energy search.
Yeah.
I'm like, why not Ancient Vessel?
You only ever need the one.
Yeah.
You only ever need the water. You don't need a water and a metal. You never need both.
But yeah, so basically the idea is you Irida for Water Ogre Pond,
That's so
an Energy Surge,
sick.
and then boom.
Oh man, that's weirdly
and
hype, actually.
And here's the other crazy numerical chain for this.
Yeah.
So Water Ogre Pond does 100 to the active and 120 to the bench.
Yep.
What that now does is say that's on a Dragapult.
Mm-hmm.
You can now start Chronos to Dragapult.
Yo, wait, that's so sick. Wait, that's crazy. Oh my, I had never even considered that. That's gonna be so cool, man.
That'll be one of my testing. I just first I want to see what other craziness. But yeah, it plays the aroma ace spec. It actually even plays a switch, which I've never seen Dialga play before too. So
it's nice to have a switch. Seems good.
Yeah, it got a runners up in Miyagi, so
that's so cool.
I'll have to give it a run. So.
Yeah, absolutely. That is so cool. Wow. And it's cool that this metagame is like really diverse. We're seeing Miraidon start to do well again. I really thought that Raichu V rotated. And I'm looking at it right now on Limitless, and it's like, nah, dude, that's F block. I could have sworn that it was E block, bro. But now I'm looking at it, it's like, nope, that's F. That's an F for sure. And I'm like, well, I guess that means Miraidon's still good.
And that was the thing, is like, you have Dialga win Indy, and then you have Miraidon win Sapporo in the same weekend.
Yeah, crazy time to be a player of this game. And like Gardevoir's coming back with the bomb build of the bomb build of Gardevoir. People are putting Cresselia's back in the deck. Fluttermane, Screamtail, Drifloon's in there. We're starting to see that new Monkey Dory is really cool.
Yeah,
it's got a really cool trick for Gardevoir, because people are playing 2 Darkness Energy with the Monkey Dory, so that you can move some damage around onto your opponent's board or something like that.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I think it's 30 that you get to move.
Oh, I've got the page pulled up. I don't know why I'm tripping. Oh no, I don't. I lied to you. I don't have it pulled up. I think it is 30, but still 30 is a big number. I remember I was listening to an episode of the Metapod where one of the guys said they ran a single copy back when Gardevoir was really, really good. They ran a single copy of Agatha in their deck, which just moves, I want to say, hold on, I'll have to pull it up. I don't know how much it is, but it moves a little bit of damage from your active to theirs. So it lets you fix a bunch of numbers. Yeah, move up to 3 damage counters from your active Pokemon to your opponent's active Pokemon. So you load up your guy, and then you're like, but you can have this damage. And then it fixes your math for big knockouts and lets you load up an extra energy. So you're effectively getting an extra 60 damage out of one trainer, out of one supporter.
So here's where Monkey Dory is kind of a little more broken than that.
Yeah.
Monkey Dory it doesn't need to be in the active.
Right.
And it can move 3 damage counters from any of your Pokemon to any of your opponents. It can be benched.
Crazy. That's so crazy. No wonder people are playing the Cresselia again. That's nuts. Oh my goodness. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, we're seeing decks that like haven't seen really intense play in a long time. Unfortunately, Snorlax is still a deck, but we don't have to talk about that one. We're seeing Miraidon, we're seeing Dragapult, we're seeing Ancient Box do well. And mind you, this isn't like a suckers tournament. This is 2,700 players. This is an astoundingly large tournament. And we see stuff like Gouging Fire, aka the bane of my existence. I have pulled that card too many times. And they're playing stuff like Lucian. They're playing like, there's an Iron Valiant EX in here. Delphox V, Entei V, Mew EX, all in here. Like, super, super cool deck. Very, very turbo fire type of deck. I like it a lot.
He's your bane of existence for pulling. He's my bane of existence for playing.
Really? Why is that?
Fire type.
Oh, true. That's right. You're cooked if you face that guy.
Incineroar and any fire decks just kind of, all
Jeez,
right, let
yeah.
me scoop it up.
Game two? Game two? You want an
Um,
ID?
the other thing I've started seeing that I'm not sure if you've seen new Blissey deck.
Oh, I haven't. What is that?
Yeah. Let me pull it up. It is a behemoth of of a a tank.
Isn't it just so big?
300.
It's a stage one as well.
Yeah, Blissey EX. Yep.
Oh, goodness.
And so its ability, once per turn, you may move a basic energy from one of your Pokemon to another.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter from where. And for triple colorless, it does 180.
It's pretty good.
And you may draw until you have 6 cards in hand.
Yeah, that's a good card. That's a good card.
And what they're doing is they're comboing it with one of the old Chanseys. I forget what set it is. It's the one with the 4-leaf clover. Where if it's taken off of prizes, if I remember right, you get another prize.
Oh, yes. That one's so sick. I want to say that's the 151.
Yes.
Yeah, the lucky bonus one. First of all, love that art, by the way. That art is so sick. But like lucky bonus Chansey, I love the gambling Chansey deck. It's so hype.
Yeah, so I saw that and been trying to get my girlfriend into playing, and I'm like, I will build you the Blissey deck.
We'll put it in there. It'll be sick.
Yep.
That's so cool. Oh, and you just cheated into play as well. That's nice. I like that. And Charon Scare is still in the format for now. That deck's gonna be broken. Are people playing it with the cape? Please tell me they're not.
I honestly don't know. I didn't
cape on that would be ridiculous.
Yeah, 400 HP, hitting 180, 2 taps Charizard.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
While restocking your hand.
Yeah, exactly. So you're Iono proof at that point. You're Roxanne proof. Jeez. And oh no, you can't play it with color with reversal. That would be broken.
Yeah.
That would be ridiculously OP. Wow. That'll be so cool. There's so many cool new cards coming out. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I don't know. I was gonna say it's like coming from that Yu-Gi-Oh background, it's like there was usually like maybe 2-3 decks that like you could compete with consistently at any time in one format. Or ban they did the ban list thing, which is always a headache and a half.
Yeah.
But like coming to Pokemon, it is so refreshing because it's like I've got Dialga, I've got Ancient Box, I've got Arc Armorage, Testing Dragapult, and it's like all of those decks are viable and they're potential for winning. And there's like 30 other decks that are potential. So it's like it's so nice and refreshing to be in a game that's like that.
Yeah.
Even when Zard is oppressive.
Right. And I think next format is really going to be where we start to again see kind of like how cool of a game Pokemon can be with such a diverse format. Because last format, when Zard wasn't so oppressive, pre-rotation, that format was one of my favorite formats to play probably ever. Because there was just, you never know what you were going to sit down against. It was always there was always a deck to respect. There was like just all kinds of different play styles, different engines in play. I really enjoyed that format. And then this format has been a bit of a slog with Charizard just being so many decks that you play against. It's like, well, if you lose to a quarter of the room, you might as well not even play. But now, now we're seeing this format where like Zard isn't even in the top 16 at Sapporo, but you also don't see a million Dragapults. There is variance. And of course, part of that is because we haven't figured out an exact 60 that works the best. But part of that is just because like it's not head and shoulders above everything else. There are strategies that will succeed against it. There are strategies that like it doesn't do well against. That's part of why you see Lugia being really good right now too, is because like that 60 damage does nothing against Lugia. And 200 is cool, but like even the 200 plus the 60, you still have to have a damage mod for.
Yeah.
So, and it's cool to see that like Dragapult doesn't have what I call Sword and Shield block syndrome, where every new deck was the new BDIF. It's cool that it doesn't have that, and I love that. That's kind of where we're moving towards as a format. That not everything is brokenly good, but it still has a place in the meta, and it brings like some of those oppressive things down a peg.
Yeah, because I mean, like when you look at Zard, to me, it's like in Yu-Gi-Oh, like this was one of the big things I had to transition to into Pokemon is like like a +1 or a +2 in Yu-Gi-Oh was like rare as can be. Like, oh hey, I play one card, get 3 cards off of it. Oh my god, greatest thing in the world.
Right.
Coming to Pokemon, it's like, oh, Professor's Research exists. That would never exist in Yu-Gi-Oh.
And
never.
It's not even like one of the best cards in the format.
Exactly. But then, like, you have Zard, it's like, oh, hey, I scale in damage, I can energy accelerate myself.
And something else.
Yeah, and something else. And I have a ridiculous HP. Mm-hmm. Plus, I'm weak to one of the weakest types in the game right now.
Yeah, certainly. One of the least supported for sure.
So, I mean, it's like, it was a perfect storm.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I'd be interested to see, let me see the statistics of Sapporo. It only tells me this top 16 meta share, but like Lugia was 25% of the top 16. So like it was 4 of them. But like seeing that Dragapult, the new BBEG being like 18.75% of top 16, less than 20%, just a little bit above 10, when you've got like a bunch of decks represented, like that's cool. That's cool to me. Yeah. Seeing that there's like diversity in what you're going to play against. But I don't know, man. It looks very exciting. I'm literally already started talking to my buddy about like, hey man, I heard you got some full art lances, and and that you wanted that staff promo Matang. I think we can work something out.
Yeah, I would love to get staff promo Matangs, but I'm like, I don't know if I want to pay that much money.
They're only like $30 right now, so
yeah, but 4.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Never mind.
If it was 1, it'd be like whatever.
Yeah. But yeah, it's cool. The format we're headed towards. I hope it shakes out to feel really good. Where we have that big rock, paper, scissors of like Miraidon smokes Guardy, but gets obliterated by Zard. And like Guardy smokes Zard, and Zard like also kind of dunks on Miraidon, like that whole circle of things we had for a while.
See, the one thing I am worried about is what we've kind of seen with those crazy lists where it's like Zard just gets thrown into everything.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So, do you know where I can find the list of that absolute deranged person? I'm trying not to say something like more rude because I don't want to like. I'm sure they're probably a perfectly pleasant person, but some maniac put. Oh my gosh! It was like Charizard, the new Greninja EX, Dragapult EX, and I feel like there was a 4th one too, but I don't. Pidgeot's in there.
I got it.
Yeah.
I found it in the Discord.
Okay.
It was 1/1 Arceus.
Oh gosh, I forgot there's an Arceus in there.
1/1 Zard, 1/1 Pidgeot, 1/1 full line Dragapult, 1/1 Greninja, Radiant Greninja, Raikou V, Rotom V, Mew EX, Luminion.
That's evil.
And the energy lineup was 1 Lightning, 2 Psychic, 2 Water, 4 Fire, 1 Mist, 1 Double Turbo, 1 Luminous.
Disgusting. And there was there was 38 1-ofs in that deck?
I think the only thing that wasn't a 1-of that was...
It was like Nest Ball, Ultra Ball.
2 Buddy Poffins, 4 Nest, 4 Ultra, 4 Rare Candy. Other than that, everything was a 1-of besides energy.
That's ridiculous. That's criminal behavior, actually. I take it back. I don't even care about like being rude to this person. That is deranged, schizophrenic deck building. Like
that is I can't decide what I want to play, so I'm going to play it all.
That is one thing that I am a little worried about, is just like everything being like, oh, I can just put it in Zard and win. Like, that I do worry about. But hopefully Dragapult dunks on Zard enough that we don't have that problem, really.
So, and I
Oh,
will say,
man.
I believe it does, just because, I mean, running 1 to 2 TM Devos is just,
Oh,
it
TM
just
Devo
hurts.
smokes that deck. That one-up deck.
Well, yeah. So the other thing with Zard is the fact that, like, you don't have a way to recover Ricanius. They're not playing Silene,
Right.
like how Chen Pao is. So I mean, they're going to be forced to play it against that, and they're also going to be forced to go to the 70 HP Charmander.
Right, exactly.
Which
is unfortunate because you also want to have the 90 HP Charmander. Oh, no.
That's 60.
I'm tripping. I was thinking Charmeleon.
Yeah. But yeah, so
The 60
the thing
is
with
really good, and the 70 is pretty bad.
Because if I remember right, the 71 has 2 retreat cost.
I think it's 2 retreat, and I think the attack does nothing. Or, like, discards a stadium.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, not a very good card. It was great when Path was in the game.
Yeah.
But now that Path is gone, like, why do you need to discard a stadium?
And granted, we're about to get past 2.0.
Oh yeah, with Iron Thorns. None of that's even represented in this like tournament either.
Because a lot of the Iron Thorns deck has been it falters. It kind of has the same issues that Miraidon has from time to time of just relying on Electric Generator.
Yeah. Which, granted, doesn't make it inherently bad. I think an Electric Generator is still a very, very good card. It feels bad when, like, it just doesn't hit. But, I mean, the same can be said where, like, with the new Tatsugiri, if that doesn't hit, that's going to feel terrible. Your Matangs, if they don't hit, that feels terrible. Like, if you don't hit your rare candies on Chen Pao off of Pokestop, that feels terrible. Like, I don't know. I very much side with, I think it was JW Krewall who kind of, when he was really going hard in his Miraidon era, he was talking about, like, every other deck has the same problem that Miraidon has. It's just that Miraidon has this reputation of being, like, a lower IQ deck, to put it loosely, and so that's why people dunk on E-Gen so much.
And that was my thing with it, is, like, finding that balance of, like, energy to the energy generator, or electric generator. And I do like that with the Matangs, but definitely, like, it feels rough on that first Matang, especially if you only have one.
Right.
And you're only hitting 4. It's like, you're probably not hitting it. But that second and third one on that same turn,
you're doing good.
Because you don't shuffle.
Right. I think, honestly, though, if they had printed Electric Generator with the text that said, instead of shuffling these cards, like, into the deck, shuffles them to the bottom, it would have been ridiculously broken. Because then you're hitting turn 2 Iron Hands every time.
Yeah.
And I think that's not a place we want to be in as a format.
Because, I mean, they play almost as much energy as Dialga.
Yeah. The Peony builds were playing, like, upwards of 20-something energy. I think it was, like, 22.
The one that won Sapporo was 16 electric. And
16 is a lot. And 2 DTE.
And 2 TTE, yeah.
Crazy. Yeah. Which, that's a lot of energy. That's a lot of energy. And, like, that's kind of, it shows you how much you don't want to be missing those cards. And it shows you, like, it's part of why Arven is such a good card in the deck, because you want to be able to get a bunch of cards thinned out of the deck, very specific cards thinned out of the deck. Because you can Arven for a Forest Sealstone, or a Heavy Baton, or a Bravery Charm, or a Rescue Board. And you can go get these little pieces that decrease your odds of hitting them off of an Electric Generator and increase your odds of hitting an energy, because you get, like, these little combos of, like, oh, I'll Arven for Electric Generator and for a Sealstone, or for a Sealstone for an Ultra Ball. I'll use an Ultra Ball to discard this, and this. To go get this other guy. I'll restart with Mew EX for an extra card, just so that there's less likelihood of me missing my energy. And that's part of where I think the skill ceiling with Miraidon comes in crazy as well.
Yeah. And kind of like that on that whole Arven thing, it's like, look how many decks now that with rotation went to Arven for TM Evo Buddy Poffin.
So good. It's such a good combo. It's ridiculous, actually.
Yeah, I mean,
I love that combo. I really think, and I'm sure this is probably me like just coping. But I think TM, not Evo, but TM Turbo Energize is also going to be a really interesting way to play Dragapult in the near future as well. Because you don't have to worry about your energy acceleration quite as much. You literally just go get them out of the deck, and then you put that on a Tatsugiri, you're getting your Lance turn the next turn anyways. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's probably copium. I haven't tested it literally at all, but that's like my thought process is with the 2 different energy costs, it could be really, really cool.
Yeah. The other thing I will say with Yarvin that I think just kind of is a little ridiculous, in my opinion, is the whole rescue board.
Yeah, rescue boards is such a good card.
Like how many things, like the fact that the entire Dragapult line has 1 retreat cost,
broken,
kind of insane. But I think that's the other thing kind of helping with that Sapporo list is that it plays 2 rescue boards.
It sure does.
And I mean, Miraidon, Raichu, Raikou, everything has 1 retreat cost besides Iron Hands.
Wait, which Sapporo list are you talking about? The one I'm looking at has 1.
The one that won the championship.
Oh, in Sapporo? Oh, that's Miraidon.
Yeah.
I'm tripping. I thought you were talking about Dragapult still.
Oh, no, sorry. But yeah, Miraidon, it had 2 rescue boards.
Yeah. And did it play Zero Aura? No, it did not. The only free retreater you have in this list is Mew EX.
Doesn't Tatsugiri have free retreat?
Nope.
Oh.
It's got 1. But you throw your rescue board on it, and you're chilling. You get right back to the bench, and you're able to get like your supporters you need. It reminds me of Stellar Wish Jirachi, where you could look at the top 6. It was like look at the top 6, put a trainer or supporter, I think, that you found there. I'll look it up on PokemonCards.com.
I mean, with what just rotated, Mew from Celebrations.
Yeah, it was very similar to that with Air Balloon back in the day. Let's see, what was it called? Stellar Wish. Once during your turn, it was during Team Up. Once during your turn before you attack, if this Pokemon is in your active, is your active Pokemon, you may look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal a trainer card, any trainer card you find there, put it into your hand, then shuffle the other cards back in your deck, and this Pokemon is now asleep. People would play that with like other free retreat options, and it was an incredible like way to set up your game. And now we're seeing that very similar style of deck building and card design come back with the Tatsugiri, which I love this Tatsugiri, by the way. Big fan.
That Illustrator rare is just, it's
so gorgeous. I'm so hyped for that. I'm getting a playset. I'm sure that nobody's going to need a playset. I'm getting a playset, though. I want to see it also, and this is ridiculous, but I want to see it in that Dondozo deck.
Oh, the one that's like, what, 50 damage per Tatsugiri in the discard?
Which, like, is a bad deck, but it's pretty cool. I like the idea of it. Just a bunch of
pick. I mean, oh god, it's gonna give me VGC flashbacks.
Oh yeah,
PTSD,
because it's got the what is it, Order Up or whatever?
Yeah, two boosts to every stat.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh man, wow. Yeah, next format's gonna go crazy. We're getting so many cool cards. Twilight Masquerade is going to be so sick. And let's talk about some of the stuff that just got announced for that in the Night Wanderer set for Japan that is coming in our, what is it? I just said it, in the Twilight Masquerade set we're getting. It's in, what the heck?
I thought it was a set.
Oh, no.
It was a set after.
It is the set after because it comes with the Stellar Miracle set. Okay, so we're not getting those next. We're not getting the Night Wanderer stuff quite yet. We're getting Mask of Change and whatever the other one is. Crimson Haze with the Blood Moon Ursaluna. But Night Wanderer is going to be super lit with this Loyal 3 deck and this crazy Kyurem that people are swearing is really good. Spoilers, it's not. And then like this new Chorus trainer, this new Ace-Spec Stadium looks really cool. I don't know. What's jumping out at you out of the Night Wanderer?
So far, the Kyurem does look cool, but again, the only thing it's going to be good against really is going to be Lost Stone.
Yeah.
Which, one of the things I've been thinking about in my head, it's like we just had rotation for E-Block going away.
Yeah.
We lost Mew. We lost, what's that? Rapid Strike.
Yeah.
And we lost Battle VIP Pass.
Right.
It hit, but like if you weren't playing those two main decks, it didn't hit as bad.
Right. I mean, Battle VIP Pass hit every deck, but that's different.
But think about when F Block rotates next year.
Bro, it's going to be sad. It's going to be sad times.
All the Radiants are gone.
So sad.
Irida's gone.
Yeah, Irida will be gone.
So, I mean, there's going to be a lot of decks that are going to get crippled. So,
just Radiant Greninja being gone is going to affect so many decks.
Yeah.
So many decks. It's crazy.
So, I mean, right now, this deck, I mean, Lost Zone is going to be, Comfy's gone.
Yeah, Comfy's going to be gone.
So, I mean,
well, the entirety of Lost Zone is really going to be gone. That whole engine is going to be gone. There's no longer going to be anything in the format that interacts with the Lost Zone at all.
Yeah. I mean, Vacuum is even gone.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean,
which will be cool because like stuff like Neutral Center, stuff like the 5G tower, I forget what that one's called, Jamming Tower. Like those things are going to be more likely to stick. But
at the same time, it's like I think they're preparing for that change. And while things aren't going to be that great right now, once that rotation happens, things are going to be like wild.
Yeah, it's going to be a crazy format with F Block gone. Like no Arceus in the game either.
No Giratina.
No Giratina is crazy.
I'm gonna RIP my Dialga.
I'll be sad about Palkia leaving, dude. I know that Palkia has already had its heyday, but I wish it would come back for one deck. The copium in me is like, there'll be a deck that just does really well with it, and it's not happening.
But I mean, Goldango uses Palkia.
Goldango does use Palkia and Radiant Greninja, and like Zard uses Radzard. Even like these cool spread decks are using Radiant Alakazam a lot, which I love. Some of these poison decks are using Radiant Hisui and Sneasler. It'll be sad to see that go. So like even like the Loyal 3 deck that's gonna run a lot of poison and stuff, you're not gonna be able to really run Sneasler for very long at all. And so
I mean, and that's what I'm hoping is they're kind of like they're trying to release it like maybe a little weaker for that rotation, because the way I see it, F Block is just like a powerhouse block
for sure. Yeah, it had Sword and Shield like illness, dude. It was like every deck is the new BDIF. And now we're not seeing that as much, and it's cool that they're like, whoa, we really overstepped with our game design. Let's rein it back in a little bit. But again, yeah.
I was gonna say, like, coming from Yu-Gi-Oh, like that was a thing of like you knew you had 6 months of it, not 3 years of it.
Whew, man, yeah. Which I guess kind of like is evidence to why some games are more successful with a ban list rather than rotation. I personally am still rotation pilled. I think rotation is such a cool way to do a game.
I will say it definitely helps with for people getting into the new game. It's not like they have to go search for these like mystical cards that may or may not have existed 30 years ago or something like that. It's hey, this set is gone. You basically only have to you don't have to ignore it. You can set aside the trainers because they may get reprinted.
Right.
But like everything else is just kind of like it's gone to the wind.
Yeah, and you can play GLC if you want, which is great. It's just like most of the stuff though, once it's gone, which is sad. But it's another really cool part of the game, and I like that for a lot of reasons. This Curative actually does seem, speaking of GLC, it seems kind of nuts in GLC. Because it says if your opponent has a card with Colress in its name in their discard pile, the attack of this Pokemon's Trifrost is 1 colorless. And GLC, one of the best cards in the format, is just called Colress. It's shuffle and draw for every bench slot that's filled. Yours and your opponent's. So sometimes you're using Colress for 10 cards. Or
Jesus.
yeah, I think it's for every card in play, actually. I think you
So
sometimes will Colress for 10.
Because it's basically what Morty's Ambition or whatever that just came out was similar to.
Yes. Let me see. I've got it right here. If it would just shuffle your hand into your deck, then draw a card. Number of cards equal to the number of benched Pokemon. Yeah, so you're drawing sometimes 10 cards off of that. And that's in GLC. So if your opponent plays that, and then you just drop down this Kyurem in the Dragons deck, man, you're cooking.
I mean, because, yeah, 110 spread, and you to 3?
3 of them for 1 energy. Broken card.
I mean, I can just think about this. Like, if someone drops this against me, like, and I'm just, like, I'm not playing Colress in Dialga. Tried.
Right.
Failed. But, I mean, just 110 snipes 3 Matangs all day long, and I'm like, oh, I'm cooked.
Yeah, you're definitely cooked. And unfortunately, Colress's Tenacity, the trainer that they're printing to actually go with this card, is pretty bad. For now. It might get good. It might not. It does say an energy card, not a basic energy. And it says a stadium, so it could even be this A spec. But I don't know. I'm a little worried. It'll be cool that there's a stadium search now, though. That'll be cool. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the next format's gonna look like. This is my first time going into a rotation where it will officially be like all of the cards that are in the next format are cards that I have seen be released. And that like nothing will be in that format that I started on the game with. Like all of the stuff that I started out with will be gone.
It'll be a while for me.
You've got some time, luckily. But whatever, J or K block is gonna go crazy for you. Oh man, this Mochi looks cool. The Binding Mochi, 40 more to your opponent's active while you're poisoned. Seems pretty good. Walking Wake might actually be nuts.
Yeah. Paul Day and Clodsire.
True.
I guess just Clodsire.
I want Clodsire to be good so bad. I want it so bad. He's so friendly. He's so friend-shaped. And
with 3 brain cells.
Oh yeah, if that. He has to rent 2 of them. But a lot of these like these Night Wanderers, these Loyal 3, these Rude 3, they have interesting effects. I don't know how good they're gonna be. Just because, again, like that next format after we rotate is going to be so different than anything I've ever played with. But that's why I'm hoping that Dragapult stocks just stay up, man. I'm gonna get there and I'm holding, man. I'm never selling that. Those are gonna be evergreen stocks for sure. I hope that ages well. I hope that ages well.
You know it will for about 3 months, and then new set releases, and it's like, oh.
And they print like the one thing that's like, Dragapult is dead. It's like, all right, well, it was fun while it lasted.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be interesting. I mean, especially since, what is it? Isn't like the rumors on our September special set or something like that is like dragons?
Yes. I think it was confirmed almost. But oh my gosh, it's gonna be so sick! It's gonna be so good.
Like,
oh man, Regidrago VSTAR might come back.
I mean, it's only to F block.
It is only F block. They'll probably make it broken right before they rotate it. They're like, Regidrago just never got enough love, man. And keep in mind that while F block is active, it will have access to Giratina VSTAR, Noivern EX, Dragapult EX. What's another great dragon type that it was using? The Dragonite from Silver Tempest that accelerates energy and does a lot of damage.
Yeah.
The single prize one. It'll have access to Kyurem. Wait. Oh no. Oh, that's crazy. It'll have access to that Kyurem. Wait, I'm cooking. Hold on. Regidrago might be nuts before it rotates. Yeah, it'll be such a cool deck. And then they'll be like, all right, you've had your fun, get out.
You know what card I was hoping was gonna do something, but it's not going to by this point, since it hasn't.
What card?
The new Reniculus from
Oh yes.
with Summoning Gate. Look at the top 8.
Yep.
Every Pokemon, doesn't matter if it's basic or evolve, just bench.
I like that a lot. It's got big Radiant Eternatus vibes. Radiant Eternatus did the same thing, but like when you played it from hand, you cheated in 2 VMAXs. It ended your turn, but like still.
I mean,
I wish that Reuniclus would be good. It's just like it's hard to get a stage 3 up.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those things where it's like it's so slow, and there's like possibility you don't hit what you want, and things like that. And, yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is really unfortunate. Speaking of like scrying the top couple cards of the deck and getting stuff out of there, though, let's briefly talk about the alleged leaks of the Stellar Terra types.
Oh,
do you think they're real? Do you think they're real?
I hate to say yes. Like, to me, coming from the Yu-Gi-Oh background, they look too fake.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like, the biggest thing to me is that, one, they're in English.
Yeah, that's the weirdest thing for me.
But at the same time, the energy cost and things like that kind of make Pokemon sense.
Yeah, I'd say so. It reminds me a lot of the amazing rares from Sword and Shield block. It's weird that the English got leaked first. They look awesome. It's weird that they don't have any that the Stellar Terra type doesn't have any kind of like, because it would effectively be like the fusion strike of this era of Pokemon.
Yeah.
And so like there's no like tag the way Ancient and Future exists. And so that's kind of another weird tell for me. And then also, and this is the biggest one, the Lapras attack. That's like, hey, look at the top 20 cards of your deck.
Yeah.
That's not real.
Like, I will say, I have seen TCG games do things like that. Just because someone went in a back corner and did some things they weren't supposed to do. But like they're like they came out with like, hey, this is a great idea, guys.
Trust me. But yeah, no, like it's a very uncommon effect in most card games for sure. It's very strange. I think the closest we ever had in Pokemon was like Radiant Steelix did an effect where it's like one of the few things where it's like the whole deck just goes away. Where we had where Radiant Steelix literally discards all but one, and then you do damage for every energy discard in that way. And it's kind of evidence that we don't really get that kind of effect very often. And when we do, it's either a total meme or it's super broken. And I feel like they wouldn't waste such an effect on like just a Lapras and only limit it to 20. I feel like if they had something like that, it wouldn't be 20 as the number, I don't think.
Yeah. It would be like 10 or something. Like if you're going to limit it to like, I mean, 20 by like turn 2, turn 3 in most decks is literally going to be like your entire deck.
Yeah, exactly. Just because the game is so fast right now. But let's see. Yeah, I don't know. Night Wanderer looks cool. Twilight Masquerade is what we're getting next, and that's when I think that's when we get Dragapult, right?
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, I'm big chillin' then. That's this weekend. I'm so hyped. I'm trying to pull the Dragapults, man. I need it.
Yeah, the things I'm looking for this weekend is going to be the Heatran.
The Heatran's sick too. I love that Heatran. Very, very cool card.
50 per energy. I mean, I know the list I've seen that have run it are running the Bastion Vest Legion. But
also a cool combo.
I mean, with 4 super rods, you're just sitting there chilling, just like, oh yeah, I dumped 8 energy, Basculin punch for 160, 180,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Put it all back.
do it again.
Yep. Super cool. Super, super cool effect. Oh, man. I think that's really kind of all we had on the itinerary. Is there anything that you wanted to talk about before we start to wrapping things up?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head. Oh, I want your opinion on two things.
Okay, I've got a lot of opinions.
One, gold buddy buddy poffin.
It's ugly.
Like most golds, in my opinion.
Some golds look really sick. Dark Patch looks really good in gold.
Yes.
Buddy Buddy Poffin looks horrendous.
Yeah. Okay. The second thing, one card we didn't talk. Well, you kind of mentioned it. The new Blood Moon Ursaluna.
Oh gosh, yeah. I totally forgot because that wasn't in Night Wanderer. That card's gonna be busted when it comes out. It's going straight into Lost Box. We all know it. It's going in Lost Box. It's going in Lugia. It's gonna be great.
I mean, I've seen it splash in everything because it's basically Radiant Zard as an EX.
It's Rad Zard, but you can play it and a Radiant. It's good. It's so good. In fact, you'll never guess how good this card is. It's so good. Oh man, It looks really cool. I'm hype about it. The Ogre Pawns are gonna be sick too. I'm so pumped to see what you concoct with Ogre Pawn in Dialga. It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, I will say the one deck I am kind of interested in to see if someone can concoct something is that Palafin deck.
Yeah, the Palafin's gonna be weird, man. It's basically a stage 2, but it's also not at all. And it had a lot of HP.
340.
340 on a stage 1 is bananas.
With 250 damage for 1 water.
Yeah, that's pretty good. But
it's just...
there's also a lot of switching out you have to do. Like a lot. So I don't know. It could be good. It could be trash. You never know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be cool. I think it'll be a really cool style deck. I think we might see it like once in like as a 1/1/1 in some other deck. And it'll show up on stream one time and everyone's going to jump out of their chairs and pop off for it. But then it'll never be seen again. That's my prediction for Palafin EX. Lock it in right now. We'll see it once. We'll see it at like we'll see it at either at NAIC or Worlds. Once on stream, it'll be the 1/1/1 line. It'll happen. It'll pop off. The entire stadium is going to and then we'll never see it again.
Wait, is it going to be for NAIC?
It should be. Yeah.
It becomes legal the first day of NAIC.
Yeah, it's going to be so hype. There's going to be some just absolute mad person who's just like, I can run this control deck. I can run Pidgeot EX. I got the 1 water in there. I can use Lumineon on an attack sometimes, and then I can bust out the Palafin EX and just boom. And it's like, hey, buddy, let's calm down. Let's get you checked into a psych ward expeditiously. But also, I'll be so hyped if it happens.
Yeah, it's kind of like that first time Dialga popped off at EUIC. It's like, oh,
that's a Star Chronos yoga loop moment. Like that's like it's just one of those things that like it doesn't always happen. I mean, well, with Dialga it does, but like when it does happen, it's just so good. Chef's kiss.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that I do believe brings us to the end of the show. James, is there anything that you would like to shout out where folks can find you?
I unfortunately do not do social media really.
No, you're better for it, to be honest.
But yeah, I mean, I'll be at as many tournaments as I possibly can, just playing, practicing. Yeah,
cool.
Trying to help as many people as possible because I know when I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh, it was definitely I got helped by a lot of people and try to pay it forward 15 years later.
I'm sure that's going to happen. I'm certain that there will be a Dialga VSTAR dojo pioneered by yourself. in the very near future. But that's super great. I appreciate having you on. You've been wonderful. I really appreciate you. I hope to have you on again because, like,
Of course.
you have one thing I didn't mention, and I'm super thrilled to have you in our testing and play group, dude. Like, you showed up, and I was like, oh, this is a new player. Oh, sick. We poached him from Yu-Gi-Oh. Cool. And then, like, ever since, like, it's been, well, first of all, we've matched in all but one tournament we've ever played together. Which is so fun for me. I love having like a Pokemon video game rival. Like,
yeah, because the only tournament we didn't match at was at Scott's for the Cup.
Yeah, exactly that.
And the only time we actually didn't play each other at Get Some was when they did the round 1 repair where we were paired, and then they didn't pair.
Yeah, dang. But yeah,
and I think you have the lead because of the beat down with Mew.
I think so. I'm sure you'll catch up so soon, though. But yeah, thank you again so much for coming on. I'll definitely have you on again at some point. But in the meantime, thank you again, everybody, for coming out, watching, listening, etc. Again, like, comment, subscribe, leave a good rating on Spotify. And most importantly, share this with your friends. That's the best way that you can, like, help the podcast, the show, because that helps me get more guests on, helps me carve out time in my schedule. I'm going back to work very soon, by which I mean tomorrow. So I will need to really have to work to carve out time for the show. And sharing it with people and helping it gain some traction is the best way to ensure that I'm able to keep doing this. So with that said, that's going to be the end of the broadcast. I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace out.